This should be played at high volume, preferably in a residential area. This, this, this should be played. This should be played at high volume, preferably in a residential area.
Due to some violent content, parental discretion is advised.
Shalom, salama, siyeme, shalom to you always, family abroad. It's your man Yashar Rawls, aka Red Letter Wrapped. And you know my wife Yazarette is with us as well.
Shalom, family.
No doubt, no doubt. So, all praises to the Most High. We are coming to you live from North Carolina, but we'll see what the Most High provides. All right, we'll just put it that way. So there's a lot of good things that's been going on within the past week or so, and I want to apologize to y'all, family, because I thought that Zuma Yahoo was going to be done with his message, and I was going to be presenting how Hashatan has deceived the whole world last Wednesday. Well, he had another message to give, so Zuma did his last message on the virgin birth last week on Hebrew Descendant. Definitely check out that channel. Definitely check out that whole study because he goes in on bringing all the receipts and everything. So a lot of people only come from certain little scriptures and certain understandings from the New Testament. The Ak goes way back. He even goes into the historical, the written, recorded human history of where the whole virgin birth even comes from. So Most High willing, I believe this Wednesday night, 7 o'clock on Hebrew Descendant, and also right here on Red Letter Wrapped. I'm gonna try to dual stream those, and I'm going to go in on how Hashatan has deceived the whole world. And Most High willing, it'll be a two-part study because we got a slow walk through it, right? So I don't want no excuses. The Most High is not going to allow any excuses for us to not understand these things, as the scripture says, to not be ignorant of Satan's devices, but rather expose them, right? So in order to do that, we're going to have to dig deep. We're going to have to go see just how far the rabbit hole goes on some of these things. And so in order to do that, we're going to need patience for one another. We're going to need patience for the study. There's going to be some slides that I got to go back and forth on to make sure it sets in for those that, you know, may not be able to keep up. So I want to make sure that everybody's able to keep up with this study and everybody's able to thoroughly understand it. And we're not going to drag it out 4 hours. We're going to do it short and sweet, just like this one, you know, an hour and a half, 2 hours at a time. Yes, thank you. That's right. Hebrew Descendant channel right there. Hebrew Descendant Live. And that's where you can see that virgin birth study. And that's where you can also find where we're going to do Wednesday night, 7 o'clock p.m. Eastern time. We're going to do how Hashatan has deceived the whole world. So you got anything before we go ahead and pray on in, baby?
Nope, let's get it.
All right. So let's go ahead and pray on in. I know we got 7 people in the chat. We did have 9 for a hot second there. Let's go ahead. If you can and you will, please bow your heads. And we're going to go ahead and pray on in and get right on into these scriptures with our recap and then go straight on in. Abu Yahuwah, Mosayah Yasharal, Mosayah of Abaraham, of Yatasak and Yaquab, the one true Alhaim of all creation, creator of all the heavens and earth and everything within, Yahuwah Sabaoth. Abba, we come humbly before your throne, continuing to ask forgiveness of all of our sins and iniquities, those things known and unknown, and the sins and iniquities of our ancestors and forefathers. For we repent, Abba, and we continue to ask that you will renew a clean heart and a right spirit within us, that we may be found blameless within thy sight. Abba, before we dig into this, we ask always that you allow your Holy Spirit to dwell upon every household watching, and especially this household, and everybody's going to tune in later. But there's history that needs to be spoken. It needs to be understood. And there's a lot of things in your word that need just as much care. So no matter what it is that we're led to hear from any other teacher or moray or pastor or preacher, anybody that's delivering this word, and especially if we're doing it on our own, we ask that you give us a double portion of discernment, that we can understand what it is that you're giving us. Allow us to understand what we're reading. Allow us to understand the timeline of events. Allow us to understand all the things that are important to our ruach for our soul salvation. Now, a lot of people would say that these scriptures here are not salvific scriptures. They're not about your salvation. But there's a lot to these scriptures that have to do with our salvation, because if we would have kept your law, statutes, commandments, and judgments, these series of events wouldn't have happened. So these series of events are important to understand, that it's because we didn't keep your law. It's because we didn't fervently make sure we kept evil out of the land. It's because we didn't do what you commanded us to do that these things had to come to pass. So I will allow us to understand these things the way you need us to understand it. And yours and your son, Yahushua HaMashakah, we pray. So be it. And it is so.
Amen.
All right. Oh, yeah. That is going to be good timing. There's actually a couple people that the Most High is using right now to actually bring this kind of study out on different levels. Some maybe not as advanced, but some levels of the conversation or of the teaching go deep. So I think the Most High is definitely trying to make sure that we all get an understanding on it, so that way there's no excuses on how Hashatan has deceived the whole world. So let's go ahead and share a screen with y'all right quick. And let's go ahead and get right on into it. All right, so quick recap. We only did 2 chapters last week. We're only going to try to go 2, maybe 3 chapters, depending on how short or long they are. We want to start keeping these studies to about an hour and a half to 2 hours. 2 hours tops, for the actual study. But for, we got to have our music at the end, get our Bantu breakdance on. So we're going to do that afterwards, as the Most High has definitely allowed us to do. So quick recap. In chapter 1, we see how Alexander the Great, Alexander, son of Philip, the Macedonian or Macedonian, who came out of the land of Kittim or Rome, he had laid waste to the Persians and the Medes, and then he hands his kingdom over while he's on his deathbed to his captains. And then one of his captains has in captivity, in captivity is Antiochus. So we see that, Antiochus was held hostage right here. See, Antiochus, surnamed Epiphanes, son of Antiochus the king, who had been hostage at Rome. All right. I want to make sure we go over these things, so that way it's like I'm not just speaking up the side of my face. All right. So we see that we had this evil king here. And then we see also that there were wicked men of Yasharal from the tribe of Yehuda and other tribes as well, that said, let us go and cut a covenant with the heathen. So they cut a covenant with the heathen and brought their practices back into Yasharal. And so right here, according to the customs of the heathens, right here, they built places of exercise, gyms. Not only that, but we get down here a little bit further, we see that they also made chapels. Well, that came later with the whole Roman, and actually not Roman, but Grecian takeover of Jerusalem. So we also see that we also get Antiochus thought the reign of Mizraim that he might have the dominion of two realms. So Antiochus wanted to rule Egypt and Jerusalem and all of Judea for those in the layman crowd. So he brought a naval army, and beasts that had never really been seen used in this manner, with chariots and elephants and different horsemen and things like that. And he made war against Ptolemy, king of Mizraim or of Egypt. But Ptolemy was afraid of him and fled, and many were wounded to death. So Antiochus also starts to take over Egypt. And so later down the line, we see how, and after that, Antiochus had smitten Mizraim, he returned again in 143rd, in the 143rd year, and went up against Yasharal in Jerusalem with a great multitude. And so they took away the altar, the menorah, the light of the vessels. They took away everything. And they actually have different, when you go to certain museum sites, you can see them online. They're actual chiseled, engraved reliefs or whatever. You can see where they actually are bragging about these things. They stole all of our holy artifacts, everything from the temple, everything. So, excuse me, family. So once again, these scriptures are not just historical in nature, but there is a bit of salvation factor that come with these. Because if we were doing what we were instructed to do way back in, the book of Numbers and in, the book of Deuteronomy and such, that if we were keeping the evil out of the land, these series of events would not have happened. So all of these are byproducts of the curses that have came upon us for forsaking the Most High's ways and keeping his ordinances, his laws. So this is why these books are not just historical in nature, but salvific as well, because there's a lesson to learn in here. So let's get on down here. Let's keep it moving. Because once again, this is just a little recap of the first two chapters, and then we're going to get right on into chapter 3. But then we get, we got our Matthias is where I'm trying to get to. All right, no, this is also important over as well. Moreover, King Antiochus wrote to his whole kingdom that all should be one people, and everyone should leave his laws. So all the heathen agreed according to the commandment of the king. Now, this is very important because this right here starts what is known later down the line as the, oh my goodness, I was right on the tip of my tongue. I had it there for a moment. Anyway, it starts the procession of the European empires from Greece, later to Rome, later also during the Spanish Inquisition, to make sure that our laws are done away with, which is the same thing that they promote in the Eurocentric church, that we're all one people. All right. So this right here is where we get that in the Second Testament about there's no more Jew, no more Greek. We're all one in Christ. All right. This is the first instance of this. It's just spoken in a different way. And a lot of people don't understand that. And so then we also get right here, many also of Yasharal consented to his religion, to Antiochus's religion. And then we also get down the line here that they sacrifice unto idols and profane the Shabbat, all these different things. they forbid all of our practices, all of our smoke offerings, our actual sacrifice offerings, our drink offerings. They did away with everything and profaned everything. They even put unclean beasts on the altar and barbecued up pigs and different animals that we're not supposed to be even touching in the first place, period. Let alone, you already know how I stand, let alone eating meat, but they put unclean beasts on the altar to profane it, which is the desolation of abomination. And then they also made it a law that we're no longer to circumcise our children. And anybody that got caught with circumcised children, the whole household would die. And whosoever would not do according to the commandment of the king, he said, he should die. So they will go in and start just murdering us by as many as they could possibly find. They will go in and do random raids and check our sons to see if we've been circumcised. Then they would perform an inquisition right there in the house to find out who performed the circumcision. Then they would kill everybody that knew about it and those who had performed the circumcision. All of these things. So as we,
What do you think the circumcision was about originally?
Well, the circumcision there's originally what we get in Jasher and in Jubilees about the circumcision on the 8th day. It's symbolic to circumcising the fat from our hearts. And it's also helps keep that area for the man cleaner, because, they didn't have, a lot of soaps or whatever. And it's from what I understand, it's pretty tedious to keep that clean. I'm trying to keep this conversation as clean as possible for those out there that may have children around, and I don't want to get vulgar or profane with anything we're speaking about. So keeping that clean was like a big chore. It's to keep regular. Otherwise, certain diseases would happen.
I got it, but it's interesting because the Most High, when he formed Adam with the foreskin. Like he allowed, what I'm saying is like he allowed males to have foreskin. So it definitely has to be even more so than that, what you're saying.
Right. And you know what? That's a good question. And so it would be interesting to come across anything from way back then to see if before the flood, the Most High was commanding, circumcision then, because I haven't came across anything to this day. So I can't sit here and say, well, yeah, they had circumcision back then. I can't say that because I haven't seen it. So that is a good question.
It's something to seek Abba about, because he allowed the foreskins to be there.
Right. Absolutely. The time did move. We did go ahead and change the time on that. And I can definitely say this week, Shabbat Shalom, family. The Shabbats are back on Saturdays for this month, for this biblical month. And I pray that a lot of y'all are learning how to keep time. And if not, I pray you do learn how to keep time. All right. And so all praises to the Most High for those things. Yeah, Shalom, family. It's our sister Lakeisha Yah. Always good to have you in the building. Always good to see you and your family. Shalom to you. Always Auntie Cam 2 player. So let's go ahead and get back to our recap, though. So right here, this is how far they went. At which time, according to the commandment, they put to death certain women that had caused their children to be circumcised, and they hanged the infants about their necks and rifled their houses. So they would ransack the house. They would kill the whole family and then steal all their goods, everything, take everything, and slew them that had circumcised them. So, and then there were others that said that they would rather die than that they might be defiled with the meats that they were promoting. And so chapter 2, we see Matithyahu, the son of Yakanan, the son of Shimon, a priest and the sons of Yarib from Jerusalem, and dwelt in Modin. And so during this time, we see Matithyahu, he comes back on the scene, and there are others that have either fled Jerusalem because the whole scene looks like it's just completely unfamiliar. It's like what is this? Like it don't even look like Jerusalem no more. It looks like heathen town. And so like everything, we see chapels go up, we see all kinds of things go up. We see them profaning the temple day in and day out. And so once again, these are all byproducts of the curses, because we weren't keeping the law, and we allowed wicked men from our own nation to bring back foreign and strange customs that is not for us to be upholding or keeping or doing. So Matithyahu of the Maccabees, he ends up starts a rebellion, which we find out later that through other deep study, we find out that these are the zealots. So when you see in the Second Testament, Simon the Zealot, he was actually one of these brothers. You know? So let's go ahead and just keep it moving, because we get to a place where Matithyahu, he gets on his deathbed, and before he's about to die, he goes in and making sure that we remember, right? So right here, I'm gonna go ahead and start right here at verse 51, and yeah, this is powerful. We'll start at verse 51 from chapter 2, and we'll go ahead and ride straight on into chapter 3. All right, let's make this blend right on together with each other. All right, so Matithyahu on his deathbed, he says, call to remembrance what acts our fathers did in their time, so shall ye receive great honor and an everlasting name. Was not Abraham found faithful in temptation, and it was imputed unto him for righteousness? Yosef, or Yaasef, in the time of his distress, kept the commandment and was made Adonai, or Lord of Mizraim, Egypt. This Pinhach right here, or Phineas right here, our father, in being zealous and fervent, obtained the covenant of an everlasting priesthood. Yahusha, or Joshua for others, for fulfilling the word, was made a judge in Yasharal. Caleb, for bearing witness before the assembly, received the heritage of the land. Dawood, or Dawid, or David, for being merciful, possessed the throne of an everlasting kingdom. Eliyahu, for being zealous and fervent for the Torah, or for the law, for the instruction, was taken up into heaven. Pause. Even though this was from last week's study, we have to keep some things in context and understanding. See, in the Second Testament, they say those that were zealous for the law, those were the Pharisees, the stiff-necked, the inflexible ones. They were just so zealous for the law, and the law is done away with, just and the third. They were lying to us, family. See, the thing that made Pharisees is they was saying this Torah talk in broad daylight, but they would teach Babylonian Talmud in secret amongst themselves. They were practicing Babylonian Talmud, which is something completely different. It has nothing to do with the Most High's laws. It's a manipulation. It's a counterfeit of the Most High's ways. So the Pharisees were not true zealots. They were not zealous for the Most High's law. They were not fervent for the law. They didn't love the Most High like they proclaimed to. They were half-stepping. They were faking. So it says that Eliyahu was zealous and fervent for the Torah and was taken up to heaven. Canaan Yahu, Azaryahu and Mishael, by believing, were saved out of the flame. Daniel, for his innocency, was delivered from the mouth of lions. And thus consider ye throughout all ages that none that put their trust in him, meaning Yahuwah, shall be overcome. Fear not then the words of a sinful man, for his glory shall be dung and worms. Today he shall be lifted up, and tomorrow he shall not be found, because he is returned into his dust, and his thought is come to nothing. Wherefore, ye, my sons, be valiant and show yourselves men in the behalf of the Torah, the instruction, the law of the Most High. For it shall be, for by it shall ye obtain glory. And behold, I know that your brother Shimon is a man of counsel. Give ear unto him always. He shall be a father unto you. As for Yehuda Maccabee, he has been mighty and strong, even from his youth up. Let him be your captain and fight the battle of the people. Take also unto you all those that observe the Torah, and avenge ye the wrong of your people. Recompense fully the heathen, and take heed to the commandments of the Torah. So he blessed them and was gathered to his fathers. And he died in the 146th year, and his sons buried him in the sepulchres of his fathers at Modin. And all Yasharal made great lamentation for him. Then his son Yehuda, called Maccabee, rose up in his stead, and all his brethren helped him. And so did all they that held with his father, and they fought with cheerfulness the battle of Yasharal. So he got his people great honor, and put on a breastplate as a giant, and girt his warlike harness about him, and he made battles, protecting the host with his sword. In his axe he was like a lion, and a lion's whelp roaring for his prey. For he pursued the wicked and sought them out, and burnt up those that vexed his people. Wherefore the wicked shrunk for fear of him, and all the workers of iniquity were troubled, because Yeshua, or because salvation, prospered in his land. He grieved also many kings, and made Yaqub glad with his acts, and his memorial is blessed forever. Let's pause there for a second. So during the days of the prophets, the Most High said that ye shall be my battle axe. And what has been done will be done again. And I say these things, with a kind of, with a declaration on my heart to make sure it's understood that there is going to come a day again when these things are going to have to come to pass again. So I want to make sure all are prepared and all are ready for that day. Seek the Most High's law. Keep his law. I don't care what no Eurocentric Christian out there tells you that the law has been done away with. Ask them, book, chapter, verse, please. Every single time. This is all you got to do. You don't got to get mad. You don't got to get huffy puffy with them. Just simply say, book, chapter, verse, please. And if they cannot produce to you the book, chapter, and verse where the law is done away with, then you got them right then and there. Because all throughout the Torah, the Most High said that this is an everlasting commandment, to keep my law. And you can show them book, chapter, verse on that, but they can't show you book, chapter, verse on where the law is done away with, that it was nailed to the cross. Please, book, chapter, verse. Because they can't find it, and it's not there. You going to say something, man?
And Yahusha said, if you love me, you will keep my commandments.
Facts. I just had this debate with somebody yesterday about this. And I continue to have this same debate with the same person, and I keep telling them over and over and over. Hamashiach said, if you love me, you will keep my commandments. Thanks, back.
All praise to the Most High.
So
You're welcome.
what commandments was he talking about? These commandments that the Maccabees are fighting for, to keep the commandments. All right. Moreover, right here, we're going to pick right back up verse 8 of chapter 3. It says, moreover, he went through the cities of Yehuda, destroying the wicked out of them, and turning away wrath from Yasharal, so he was renowned unto the utmost part of the earth. He received unto him such as were ready to perish. So, real quick, this is the kind of ferventness that we have to have when that time comes. No fear at all. And then also, this is a very important thing right here. Let's go ahead and highlight this. So, right here says he was destroying the wicked out of the land and turning away wrath from Yasharal. See, the Most High had placed his wrath upon us because we were not keeping the law. But by putting evil out of the land, it causes the Most High to remove wrath from us, because he starts to see obedience from us.
Evil spreads like leaven.
That's right.
Sin spreads like leaven. That's scripture.
Facts. And so we also have to spread, in a different manner, but not like leaven, but to put evil out of the land. We got to get the evil out the bread. Matter of fact, we got to destroy the whole loaf. So everywhere that loaf of leavened bread is at, we got to destroy it.
Right. So what's interesting, that's why we have to examine our actions, right?
Mm-hmm.
Because what you said is equivalent to, like, if you had a glass of water and there was a drop of poison in it, would you drink it?
No.
So if you live your life and there's still things that you do unrighteously outside of the Most High's will, how's he gonna look at that?
Right.
I mean, obviously we're imperfect and there's sin that we commit unknowingly, but we're talking more about iniquity.
Right, which is pre-planned sin.
Yeah, purposeful sin.
I said pre-planned sin. I know I messed my words up. Go ahead.
Yeah, that's it.
Okay. So then Apollonius gathered the other nations together, or gathered the Gentiles, the heathens together, and a great host out of Shamaran to fight against Yasharal, which thing when Yehuda perceived, he went forth to meet him. And so he smote him and slew him. Many also fell down slain, but the rest fled. Wherefore Yehuda took their spoils and Apollonius' sword also, and therewith he fought all his life long. So he's going to take this man's sword and start slaying his enemies with their own steel, their own creation. So this was Apollonius' sword he took also, and therewith he fought all his life long. So the sword that Apollonius was like always fighting with, he took it. So now when Saran, a prince of the army of Aram, heard say that Yehuda had gathered unto him a multitude and company of the faithful to go out with him to war, he said, I will get me a name and honor in the kingdom, for I will go fight with Yehuda and them that are with him, who despised the king's commandment. So he made him ready to go up. And there went with him a mighty host of the wicked to help him and to be avenged of the children of Yasharal. And when he came near to the going up of Bet Haran, Yehuda went forth to meet him with a small company, who, when they saw the host coming to meet him, said unto Yehuda, how should we be able, being so few, to fight against so great a multitude and so strong, seeing we are ready to faint with fasting all this day? Unto whom Yehuda answered, it is no hard matter for many to be shut up in the hands of a few, and with the Elohim of heaven it is all one to deliver with a great multitude or a small company. For the victory of battle stands not in the multitude of a host, but strength comes from heaven. They come against us in much pride and iniquity to destroy us, and our women and children, and to spoil us. But we fight for our lives and our Torah, wherefore Yahuwah himself will overthrow them before our face. And as for you, be not afraid of them. Now as soon as he had left off speaking, he leapt suddenly upon them, and so Saran and his host was overthrown before him, and they pursued them from the going down of Beth Horon unto the plain, and where were slain about 800 men of them, and the remnant fled into the land of the Philistine. Wow. So Yehuda Maccabee reminds once again that for the victory of battle stands not in the multitude of a host, but strength comes from heaven, from the Shamayim, comes from the Most High. So it's not about how many enemies we're going up against. It's your faith in the Most High that He's got you. That He's got you no matter what. Go ahead.
It is impossible to please Yah without faith.
That's right.
And faith without works is dead.
Facts.
And when we pray to Yah, we have to believe that what we have asked for, if it be in His will, that it has already been accomplished. That's what faith is.
Facts. So, thank you, Sister Rachel S. She said, you are my battle axe and weapons of war. For with you will I break in pieces the nations, and with you will I destroy kingdoms. Yirmiyahu 51:20. Yes, the Pharisees were gatekeepers at that time. Make sure I'm seeing everybody. Shabbat Shalom. Good to see you. All right. So this is why these aren't just historical scripts. And then right here, as Yehuda Maccabee also says, is wherefore Yahuwah himself will overthrow them before our face. And as for you, be not afraid of them. But before that, he says, but we fight for our lives and our Torah. We fight for the Torah of the Most High, the instruction of the Most High. Don't forget that. Never forget that. All right? So, then began the fear of Yehuda, because these that fled into the land of the Philistines, right? Then began the fear of Yehuda and his brethren, an exceeding great dread to fall upon the nations round about them. So much so as his fame came unto the king, and all nations talked of the battles of Yehuda. Now when King Antiochus heard these things, he was full of indignation. Wherefore he sent and gathered together all the forces of his realm, even a very strong army. He opened also his treasure and gave his soldiers pay for a year, commanding them to be ready whensoever he should need them. Nevertheless, when he saw that the money of his treasurers failed, and that the tributes in the country were small, because of the dissension and plague which he had brought upon the land in taking away the Torah, which had been of old time, he feared that he should not be able to bear the charges any longer, nor to have such gifts to give so liberally as he did before. For he had abounded above the kings that were before him. Pause. There's a whole lot right here that needs to be quickly spoken on, because this dude thought that he could buy the loyalty and buy the war, right? Thought he could buy it over by paying his men a year's salary off top, so that way they will win the war for him. But that wasn't gonna work, right? It says, nevertheless, when he saw that the money of his treasures failed, because the money ain't gonna cause the war to be won, and that the tributes in the country were small. Why were they small? Because for one, they were getting murked. For two, they were scared. Because the Most High, once again, when we read a little bit ago that as Yehuda Maccabee was going through and laying waste to all the wicked that opposed the Most High and was trying to do away with our Torah, and he's winning battle after battle, putting evil out the land, it removed wrath from Yasharal. And so it turned the tides. By us showing how faithful we are to the Most High's Torah, to his instruction, his ways, it removes wrath from our nation. And just as it says in Deuteronomy 31, that these curses shall be removed from you and then placed upon your enemy, this is exactly what we're seeing in these scripts. We're seeing a reversal, a role reversal here. That's right, here. I see why Maccabees was removed. That's right. Learning about Apollonius in humanities class. The textbook failed to mention this piece of information. Facts. All right. So with this right here, we see that nevertheless, when he saw that the money of his treasures failed, and that the tributes of the country were small because of the dissension and plague, people that jumped ship, like, nah, I'm not messing with you. But there's also a plague that had came upon him and his people, or upon his people, because which he had brought upon the land in taking away the Torah, which had been of old time. So this is another reason why the Most High says, the more fervent we seek him and obey his laws, his statutes, commandments, and judgments, that all the plagues that have been placed upon us will go upon our enemies. It's a role reversal. All right. So this is why it's so important for us to come back to the law. All right. And so those that have taken the Torah away, keep that in your mind. Keep that in your Ruach right there, all right? Because this is so important. He feared that he should not be able to bear the charges any longer, nor have such gifts to give so liberally as he had done before. For he had abounded, or meaning he went above and beyond all the kings that were before him in doing so. He gave more money away than any other king to get his wars won for him. So, verse 31, wherefore being greatly perplexed in his mind, he determined to go into Persia. Excuse me, I'm over here burping a little bit. Excuse me, family. So, being greatly perplexed in his mind, he determined to go into Persia, there to take the tributes of the countries and to gather much money. So he left Lysias, a nobleman, or Licinius to others that know who this guy is, a nobleman and one of the blood royal, to oversee the affairs of the king from the river Parath unto the borders of Mizraim, and to bring up his son Antiochus until he came again. Moreover, he delivered unto him the half of his forces and the elephants, and gave him charge of all things that he would have done, as also concerning them that dwelt in Yehuda and Jerusalem, to wit, that he should send an army against them to destroy and root out the strength of Yasharal and the remnant of Jerusalem, and to take away their memorial from that place, and that he should place strangers in all their quarters, and divide their land by lot. So the king took half of the forces that remained and departed from Antioch, his royal city, the 147th year, and having passed the river Parath, he went through the high countries. Then Lysias chose Ptolemy, the son of Dorymenes, Nicanor, and Gorgias, mighty men of the king's friends. And with them he sent 40,000 footmen and 7,000 horsemen to go into the land of Yehud and to destroy it, as the king commanded. So went forth with all their power, and came and pitched by Yamim in the plain country. And the merchants of the country, hearing the fame of them, took silver and gold very much with servants, and came into the camp to buy the children of Yasharal for slaves. A power also of Aram and of the land of the Philistine joined themselves unto them. Now when Yehuda and his brethren saw that miseries were multiplied, and that the forces did encamp themselves in their borders, for they knew how the king had given commandment to destroy the people and utterly abolish them, they said one to another, let us restore the decayed fortune of our people, and let us fight for our people and the sanctuary. Pause real quick. So we see a whole new regime come on in. Different warfare tactics come on in. We see the son of Antiochus, which is another Antiochus. We see where he brings in 3 other captains. Let's see, get down here. Right here. He chose Ptolemy, the one that ran away from Mizraim. He must have ran on over into the land of the Persians. The son of Dorymenes, Ptolemy, the son of Dorymenes, Nicanor, and Gorgias, mighty men of the king's friends. So maybe this is a different Ptolemy. And with them he sent 40,000 footmen. Now we don't want to miss this part or just act like we didn't read it, right? So, and the merchants of the country, hearing the fame of them, took silver and gold very much with servants, and came into the camp to buy the children of Yasharal for slaves. A power also of Aram and of the land of the Philistines joined themselves unto them. So this is a very, very common practice that's been going on for so long, to where they've been manipulating or taking our children, raising them in a foreign land, and then selling them as slaves and soldiers. And so if they don't know who they are, and all they know and all that they have is a indoctrinated education, this is exactly why you should now be able to understand that this has always been a part of the plan of a so-called Christian education, is to brainwash you into not keeping the Most High's law, statutes, commandments, and judgments, because with a Christian education, the laws are done away with. And if the laws of the Most High are done away with in your mind, all of you children of Yasharal, then what that does is keeps you in a place of perpetual slavery. All right? Making sure this is understood. So, let's get back to where we was at. They said one to another, let us restore the decayed fortune of our people, and let us fight for our people in the sanctuary. Then was the assembly gathered together, that they might be ready for battle, and that they might pray and ask mercy and compassion. This is another set of people right here, all right? Because right here it says, now when Yehuda and his brethren saw the miseries, that the miseries were multiplied, and that the forces did encamp themselves in their borders, right? So now this is our side. This is our side saying to one another, let us restore the decayed fortune of our people, and let us fight for our people and the sanctuary. Then was the assembly gathered together, that they might be ready for battle, and that they might pray and ask mercy and compassion. Now Jerusalem lay void as a wilderness. There was none of her children that went in or out the sanctuary, went in or out. The sanctuary also was trodden down, and aliens kept the stronghold. The heathen had their habitation in that place, and joy was taken from Yaqub, and the pipe with the harp ceased. Wherefore Yasharal assembled themselves together and came to Mitzpah over against Jerusalem. For in Mitzpah was the place where they prayed aforetime in Yasharal. Then they fasted that day, and put sackcloth and cast ashes upon their heads, and rent their clothes, and laid open the Sefer of the Torah, wherein the heathen had sought to paint the likeness of their own images. They brought forth also the priest's garments, and the first fruits, and the tithes, and the Nazarene they stirred up, who had accomplished their days. Then cried they with a loud voice toward heaven, saying, what shall we do with these? And whither shall we carry them away? For your sanctuary is trodden down and profaned, and your priests are in heaviness and brought low. And lo, the heathen are assembled together against us to destroy us. So I can say without a shadow of a doubt that a lot of us have read some of this portion a little incorrectly, and I'm guilty of it myself, because the context in which I read it was from the other side. All right, so this is once again the portion where we get to 1Maccabees 3:48, chapter 3, verse 48. And so, wherefore Yasharal assembled themselves together and came to Mitzpah over against Jerusalem. For Mitzpah is a place where they prayed at. It's like a gathering place, like a sanctified ground. And for Mizpah was the place where they prayed aforetime in Yasharal. Then they fasted that day and put sackcloth and ashes upon their heads, and rent their clothes, meaning ripped their garments, and laid open the Sefer of the Torah, wherein the heathen had sought to paint the likeness of their own images. Pause. So our side opens up the book of the law, but it is stated also in this verse right here, wherein the heathen has sought to paint the likeness of their images. So everything that we've read thus far, even from chapter 1 and chapter 2, all the way into chapter 3 now, wherein the other nations were putting in chapels, right? And then profaning the altar and putting unclean animals on the altar. So we see these images that are being painted into the Torah. And so, or the I don't want to just say the notion, but the evidence or the revealing that the heathen has sought to paint the likeness of their images into our Torah. Then they brought also the priest's garments and the first fruits and tithes, and the Nazarene they stirred up, who had accomplished their days. So these are the old Nazarites that were no longer fighters anymore. All right, these were the old heads. You know what I'm saying? Then they cried with a loud voice toward heaven, saying, "What shall we do with these? What are we going to do with these brothers? Well, what are we going to do with these garments, these tithes, and whether shall we carry them away?" So the context in which I had read it before in a different study, I read it incorrectly. I read it from the other side. So I'm repenting and saying this right here, that I read this in a wrong context at one other time. And now we're reading it in the proper context. And so Yehuda Maccabee, all praises, verse 48 is a key verse. That's right. So we're seeing right here where Yehuda Maccabee and the other brothers are saying, where are we going to take these brothers, that these Nazarenes right here, or Nazarites that have accomplished their days, right? Where are we going to carry them away? Well, how are we going to get them out of here? He said, for your sanctuary is trodden down and profaned, and your priests are in heaviness and brought low. And lo, the heathen are assembled together against us to destroy us. What things they imagine against us, you know what they think to do to us. How shall we be able to stand against them except you, O Elohim, be our help? Then sounded they the shofars, and I should have brought my shofar in here. I should have. I left it in the other room. But sounded the shofar and cried with a loud voice. And after this, Yehuda ordained captains over the people, even captains over thousands, and over hundreds, and over 50s, and over 10s. But as for such as were building houses, or had betrothed women, or were planting vineyards, or were fearful, those he commanded they should return, every man to his own house, according to the Torah. And that is facts. That's something that's in Deuteronomy. Like, look, if you done built you a house, you ain't consecrated it, go home. If you are newly married and you have not consecrated your marriage, go home. If you are fearful, go home. If you done planted a vineyard and have not drank the wine thereof from your own vineyard, go home. So he blows the shofar and sounded out, telling them with a loud voice, yo, I need captains. I need captains over these, and these. But all y'all that are scared and you ain't did what you're supposed to do yet, go home. least if you faint in the heat of battle, you cause one of our people to faint in the heat of battle, all because you done fell down. No, not gonna happen. If you're scared, go home. We don't need you out here. So the camp removed and pitched upon the south side of the Yamim, and Yehuda said, "Arm yourselves and be valiant men, be strong, be of good courage, and see that ye be in readiness against the morning, that ye may fight with these nations that are assembled together against us to destroy us and our sanctuary. For it's better for us to die in battle than to behold the calamities of our people and our sanctuary. Nevertheless, as the will of Elohim is in heaven, so let him do." So if the Most High declares that we're supposed to die, then that's what it is. But we ain't going out without a fight. We're going to fight for the Torah. We're going to fight for the sanctuary. We're going to fight for our people. We're going to fight for our children. We're going to fight for our wives. We're going to fight for what is right in the sight of the Most High. And if he decides that it's for us to lay down our lives this day, so be it. All right? Wow, looks like a lot of people done dipped off. Anyway, so chapter 4. Then took Georges 5,000 footmen and 1,000 of the best horsemen, and removed out of the camp by night, to the end he might rush in upon the camp of the Yahudim and smite them suddenly. And the men of the fortress were his guides. Now when Yehuda heard thereof, he himself removed, and the valiant men with him, that he might smite the king's army, which was at Yamin. While as yet the forces were dispersed from the camp, and the mean season came, Georges by night, into the camp of Yehuda. And when he found no man there, he sought them in the mountains. For he said, "These fellows flee from us." But as soon as it was day, Yehuda showed himself in the plain with 3,000 men, who nevertheless had neither armor nor swords to their minds. And they saw the camp of the heathen, and that it was strong and well harnessed, and compassed round about with horsemen, and these were expert of war. Then said Yehuda to the men that were with them, "Fear ye not their multitude, neither be ye afraid of their assault. Remember how our fathers were delivered in the Red Sea, or the Sea of Reeds, when Pharaoh pursued them with an army. Now therefore let us cry unto heaven, if perchance Yahuwah will have mercy upon us, and will remember the covenant of our fathers, and destroy this host before our face this day, that so all the heathen may know that there is one who delivers and saves Yasharal." Then the strangers lifted up their eyes and saw them coming over against them, wherefore they went out of the camp to battle. But they that were Yehuda sounded their shofars. So they joined battle, and the heathen, being discomfited, fled into the plain. Howbeit, all the hindmost of them were slain with the sword, for they pursued them into Gazam, or Gaza, and unto the plains of Edom, and Ashdod, and Yavanel, so that there were slain of them upon 3,000 men. This done, Yehuda returned again with his host from pursuing them, and said to the people, "Be not greedy of the spoil, inasmuch as there is a battle before us." Meaning, don't get caught up with everything that they done left behind and all the spoils we taken. We still got a fight ahead of us still. We got war going on. So don't get it twisted. All right. And Georges and his hosts are here by us in the mountain. But stand ye now against our enemies and overcome them, and after this ye may boldly take the spoils. As Jehudah was yet speaking these words, there appeared a part of them looking out of the mountain, who, when they perceived that the Yahudim had put their host to flight and were burning the tents, for the smoke that was seen declared what was done. When therefore they perceived these things, they were sore afraid, seeing also the host of Yehuda in the plain ready to fight. They fled everyone into the land of strangers. Then Yehuda returned to spoil the tents, where they got much gold and silver and blue silk and purple of the sea and great riches. After this, they went home and sung a song of thanksgiving and praised Yahuwah in heaven, because he is good, because his mercy endures forever. Thus Yasharal had a great deliverance that day. Now all the strangers that escaped came and told Lysias what had happened, who, when he heard thereof, was confounded and discouraged, because neither such things as he would were done unto Yasharal, nor such things as the king commanded him were come to pass. So he's like, I ain't never seen nor heard nothing like this in my life. 3,000? I sent 40,000 of y'all, but 3,000 of them sent y'all running, and then just what? He done lost his mind. So let's keep it moving. He's like, the next year, therefore, following Lysias, gathered together 70,000, so 60,000 choice men, afoot, and 5,000 horsemen, so 65,000 so far. You got 60,000 footmen, 5,000 horsemen, that he might subdue them. So they came into Edom and pitched their tents at Bet Sarah. And Yehuda met them with 10,000 men this time. And when he saw that mighty army, he prayed and said, Blessed are you, O Savior of Yasharal, who did quell the violence of the mighty man by the hand of your servant Dawid, or Dawad, and gave the host of strangers into the hands of Jonathan, the son of Shaul, and his armor bearer. Shut up this army in the hand of your people, Yasharal, and let them be confounded in their power and horsemen. Make them be of no courage, and cause the boldness of their strength to fall away, and let them quake at their destruction. Cast them down with the sword, and of them that love you, and let all those who know your name praise you with thanksgiving. So they joined battle, and there were slain of the hosts of Lysias about 5,000 men, even before them that were slain. Now when Lysias saw his army put to flight, and the manliness of Yehuda's soldiers. So let's read that again. Now when Lysias saw his army put to flight, and the manliness of Yehuda's soldiers, and how they were ready either to live or die valiantly, he went into Antioch and gathered together a company of strangers. And having made his army greater than it was, he purposed to come again into Yehuda. Then said Yehuda and his brethren, Behold, our enemies are discomfited. Let us go up to cleanse and dedicate the sanctuary. This right here is now what's coming upon us is the Feast of Dedication, to cleanse and dedicate the sanctuary. Upon this, all the hosts assembled themselves together and went up into Mount Zion. And when they saw the sanctuary desolate, and the altar profaned, and the gates burned up, and shrubs growing in the courts, as in a forest or in one of the mountains, and the priest's chambers pulled down, they rent their clothes or ripped their clothes and made great lamentation and cast ashes upon their heads and fell down flat on the ground upon their faces and blew an alarm with the shofars and cried toward heaven. Then Yehuda appointed certain men to fight against those that were in the fortress until he had cleansed the sanctuary. So he chose priests of blameless conversation, such as had pleasure in the Torah, who cleansed the sanctuary and bore out the defiled stones into the unclean place. And when they consulted what to do with the altar of ascending smoke offerings, which was profaned, they thought it best to pull it down, lest it should be a reproach to them, because the heathen had defiled it. Wherefore they pulled it down and laid up the stones in the mountain of the temple in a covenant place or a convenient place, until there should come a prophet to show them what should be done with them. Pause. So all praise to the Most High that they took those stones away from the altar because they had been defiled. They had blood soaked inside of the stones from the unclean beasts and all the different things that they had put on the altars. So it was best that they tore down that altar. And so all praise to the Most High for giving them the wherewithal to saying, let's just put it in a convenient place until a prophet should come that would have the foresight or the word of the Most High within them to tell them exactly what to do with those stones. All right. Then they took whole stones according to the Torah and built a new altar according to the former and made up the sanctuary and all the things that were within the temple and hollowed the courts and made also new holy vessels. And into the temple they brought the menorah and the altar of ascending smoke offerings and of incense and the table. And upon the altar they burned incense, and the lamps that were upon the menorah they lighted, and they might give light in the temple. Furthermore, they set the loaves upon the table and spread out the veils and finished all the works that they had begun to make. Now on the 520th day of the 9th month, which is called the month Kislev, in the 148th year, they rose up early in the morning and offered sacrifice according to the Torah upon the new altar of ascending smoke offerings, which they had made. Look at what time and what day the heathen had profaned it. Even in that was it dedicated with songs and citherns and harps and cymbals. Then all the people fell upon their faces, worshiping and praising Elohim of heaven, who had given them good success. And so they kept the dedication of the altar 8 days and offered ascending smoke offerings with gladness and sacrificed the sacrifice of deliverance and praise. They decked also the forefront of the temple with crowns of gold and with shields, and the gates of the chambers they renewed and hanged doors upon them. Thus was there very great gladness among the people, for that the reproach of the heathen was put away. Moreover, Yehuda and his brethren with the whole assembly of Yasharal ordained that the days of the dedication of the altar should be kept in their season from year to year by the space of 8 days, from the 25th day of the month Kislev, with mirth and gladness. And that time also they built up Mount Zion with high walls and strong towers round about, lest the other nations should come and tread it down as they had done before. And they set there a garrison to keep it and fortify Beth Sarah, to guard it, that the people might have a defense against Edom. So we're seeing that all of these things come to pass by what? By being zealous for the Most High's law. That the reproach right here, for the reproach of the heathen was put away. So every curse, every evil thing, every bit of wickedness that came upon us was done away with, was put away, because our people found inspiration. There was a sect of people that became zealous for the Most High's law and rallied our people together that they should keep the Torah, keep the law of the Most High, and to be zealous for it.
Within these recent scriptures, though, recent verses that you just read, doesn't it sound like what you're saying, but to me it sounded like we are supposed to be doing the Feast of Dedication.
Well, they declared amongst themselves to keep the Feast of Dedication, and it's not a bad thing to do. All right, as long as we know.
Now you're coming to that,
right? See, now I'm glad you brought that up.
That's not what you were saying.
Right. So now, with the Feast of Dedication and with Purim, which Purim is coming up, right?
But we don't know about Purim yet because we haven't read those scriptures yet. Again,
right.
This one.
So with these right here, we have to understand that these are cultural practices. These are not commanded feast days. It's in our culture to keep these things because of a remembrance of what, our ancestors had done in commemoration to be zealous for the Most High's law, to rid the evil out of the land. These aren't commanded to do, but they're not bad things to keep.
I would probably watch the language of that one.
Right, that's why I'm trying to say.
Because you're saying to rid the evil out the land. I would kind of watch that a little bit.
What you mean?
Because somebody could be confused about that. Because there were things that our ancestors did to rid evil out the land that was witchcraft, that was idolatry. You gotta.
Right, I hear what you're saying.
If it looks like idolatry, then we shouldn't be doing it.
Right, so
the Most High is supposed to change things around and make things happen.
Well, I'm talking about this in the reference.
Like a victory, wasn't it?
Right, but see, when it comes to putting evil out of the land, this is part of the Most High's Torah. This is what He's told us to do: is to keep and rid evil out of the land by the fact that if anybody in our land is doing idolatry, breaking his law, statutes, commandments, and judgments, or there are certain punishments, which is part of the judgments that have to be handed down. There are certain crimes that are punishable by death. All right. And so by ridding the land of all evil and wickedness is by not tolerating it, making an example of all those that are wicked and evil that seek to defy the Most High and to talk others into doing the same thing. It is in the Torah that if it's anybody Doesn't matter if it's your brother, your mama, your sister, your daddy. It doesn't matter who it is, your favorite cousin. If anybody is talking against the law of the Most High and conspiring to get people to turn against the Torah, that they are to be stoned to death publicly, made an example of. So there are things that, you know, the Most High expects us to do to rid evil out of the land. And it has to line up with his Torah in order to do so. But I understand what you mean as far as, like, you know, people might take that the wrong way and try to commit witchcraft, which that's against the Most High's Torah. So then we'd have to take them out too. You know what I'm saying? So,
well, yeah, but I don't want people to misinterpret what you were saying.
Right. So, you know, so once again, all of these things in these scriptures are not just historical. They very much have to do with our salvation, because the Most High turned away the reproach and turned away his wrath from us because we turned back to him with all of our heart and all of our soul and all of our strength to put the wickedness out, all the evil, all those foul practices. And then we had to also show our dedication by cleansing everything, making it all new, you know. All right, facts, sis. Let me put that on up. Let me put that on up there. She said, folks better be glad this ain't happening now.
How did I know that was you, Lakeisha?
That's talking about stoning. That's right, talking about stoning. People better be there. That's right, people better be glad. Somebody says, makes sense. We are a trendy people. We can't have that type of stuff. That's facts. We can't have that type of stuff going around. Facts. You know what I'm saying? So all these things are going to come to pass again. What has been done will be done again. And so the reason why we're going through this Maccabees study is to make sure that we understand that biblically, when we left off from the book of Judges and we went straight into the Maccabees. Well, we had a study that happened in between, you know, and we were also reading from the Ebionites book, you know what I'm saying? So she starts laughing right there. Like, how she, like when you said how you know that was her. So we had some studies in between, but biblically we left off at the book of Judges, and now we start up here at the Maccabees to make sure that we understand that even in the book of Maccabees right here, what we just saw and what we bear witness to, that the Maccabee family, whether it was Matithyahu or Yehuda Maccabee, these are the new judges. These are the new messiahs. These are the new saviors that the Most High raised up to save us from captivity and to restore the Torah unto the people, so that way captivity will be turned away, and so that the wickedness, the evil that was brought upon us will be turned away. These are things that others aren't quite saying to you. They're not filling in these gaps of understanding, but these are very important things to truly understand. All right. So, and once again, if you don't believe what I'm saying about, you know, this book being about saviors and messiahs, go back to the book of Judges. Go back and read the book of Judges. Or you can go back to the study, which we did. But I would always say read it for yourself. Read the book of Judges for yourself, you know, and see where the Most High raised up saviors that freed us from our captivities. And you see it again, plain as day, right here in these scriptures. All right. So we'll go ahead and read chapter 5, and that'll be our last chapter for tonight. So that way we don't go into too much information. All right. So Now, when the nations round about heard that the altar was built and the sanctuary renewed as before, it displeased them very much. Wherefore they thought to destroy the generation of Jacob that was among them. And thereupon they began to slay and destroy the people. Then Yehuda fought against the children of Esau in Edom, in Arabatine, Arabatine, because they besieged Gael, and he gave them a great overthrow, and abated their courage, and took their spoils. Also, he remembered the injury of the children of Bayan, who had been a snare and an offense unto the people, in that they lay in wait for them in the ways. He shut them up, and therefore in the towers, and encamped against them, and destroyed them utterly, and burned the towers of that place with fire, and all that were therein. Afterward, he passed over the children of Ammon. Where he found a mighty power and much people with Timotheus, their captain. So he fought many battles with them, till at length they were discomfited before him, and he smote them. And when he had taken Yazar with the towns belonging thereto, he returned into Yehuda. So, quick recap. All right. What do we get in Psalm 83? Right? That these certain nations that were round about, that are confederate against the Most High, have lifted up the head and have made crafty counsel that for they thought to destroy the generation of Jacob that was among them, so that way we would never be a nation ever again. This is repeated. This is a repeated process throughout all the generations of the enemies of the Most High. This is the ultimate goal for all the nations that are truly against the Most High. No matter what they say, if they love God, they have a God. It's a fake God. It's a false God. But nonetheless, to them, it is a God for them. But for us, we know it is a false God. It is not a God at all. That can't save them from nothing, can't save anybody that believes in that thing. But we know that there is a true Most High, a true Elohim, the one that is of Yasharal and for Yasharal, and all those that keep his commandments. All right? So these right here, it plays right back out for you. When the nations round about heard that the altar was built and the sanctuary renewed as before, it displeased them very much. Why? Because they're keeping the law. Whenever we keep the law, it pisses everybody off. Whenever we keep the law, statutes, commandments of the Most High, everybody in the world gets mad. They are upset. Why? Because it shows that you are awakened. It also shows that the Most High is in your favor. And it shows that they cannot keep you underfoot. It shows the Most High is about to turn the tide against them. And they don't like that. They are shaking in their boots. This is why that they're trying to come up with all these things. I came across a quick story today. I didn't get a chance to read it, but somebody even said to me yesterday on the phone that they're trying in certain little conversations to reinstitute slavery. Now, do I know of this to be a fact? No, I do not. So I'm not going to talk about it as though it's a fact, but I will say this. Ever since we started waking up to who we are, everybody, the whole world, Babylon is falling. Every place that Babylon is falling. And the Most High is turning the tide. He's changing the way the dynamic is shifting. He's destroying all of their things, all of their laws, their codes, their alliances. He's destroying all of that right in front of their faces, and they're freaking out, man. They're freaking out. Kind of like on Super Troopers. Yeah, you're freaking out, man. Because they tripping. They can't take, that's why they're trying to pass all these laws so that way you can get high. They're trying to keep you doped up and smoked out. So therefore you'll not pay attention. You'll go back to sleep. They want you sleep. They don't want you woke. They don't want you aware. They want you high and smoked out. Why do you think they're doing this? And now that there's so many other brothers that's still waking up and getting away from that, they're losing their minds because they're still not getting enough of us to fall for that. That's right, panic. They're in panic mode. They are in straight up panic mode. And this is just a repetition of what we're seeing right here in these scriptures. That wherefore they sought to destroy the generation of Jacob that was among them, and thereupon they began to slay and destroy the people. So do not get it twisted. We're seeing Yah's promises in real time, facts. Didi also puts Deuteronomy 30:7, and Yahuwah thy Elohim will put all these curses upon thine enemies and on them that hate thee, which persecuted thee. Facts. That's right, Gideon. Yes, because you are protected. That's right. Living dead state and how they like us. That's right. So don't get it twisted though, family. There may come a time when they go into such a panic. I mean, it's not like they haven't stopped killing us, right? Right? It's not like they haven't stopped killing us. So right here, I'm not even getting my thing right. Here we go. And thereupon they began to slay and destroy the people. So don't get it twisted. Their panic is going to go that far again. But don't worry. Do not worry. Have no worries. Stay steadfast in the Most High's law, in his word. Have a relationship with the Most High. Be ye not afraid. Be of strength and good courage. Be strong and of good courage. You have no.
Yeah, and I go before you.
That's right. So verse 3. Then Yehuda fought.
Joshua 1:9.
Yes. Yes, it is.
Be strong and courageous.
Then Yehuda fought against the children of Esau in Edom and Arabatime, because they besieged Gael, and he gave them a great overthrow. So he put a whooping on them and abated their courage and took their spoils. And also he remembered the injury of the children of Baanan, who had a snare and an offense unto the people, and that they lay and wait for them in the ways. So he's just settling all kinds of business right about now. He shut them up too, right? So therefore in the towers, and he encamped against them and destroyed them utterly, and burned the towers of that place with fire and all that were therein. Afterward he passed over to the children of Ammon, where he found a mighty power and much people, with Timotheus their captain. So he fought many battles with them, till at length they were discomfited before him, and he smote them. And when he had taken Yazar with the towns belonging thereto, he returned into Yehuda. Then the heathen that were in Gilead assembled themselves together against Yasharal, that were in their quarters, to destroy them. But they fled to the fortress of Dathema, and sent books, Sepharim, unto Yehuda and his brethren. The heathen that are round about us are assembled together against us to destroy us. And they are preparing to come and take the fortress whereunto we are fled, Timotheus being captain of their host. Come now, therefore, and deliver us from their hands. Stop, pause, right there. I know it's a comma, but this is what I'm talking about. This is one of the things that I keep trying to tell y'all about the book of Judges, and this book right here about having saviors, messiahs, that the Most High raised up these brothers to save us. What did he say? Come now, therefore, and deliver us from their hands, for many of us are slain. To deliver somebody, to save somebody, is to play the role of a Messiah, a savior. I'm not saying that these are Christ. I'm not saying that they are Hamashiach himself. I'm saying that they are messiahs in their own right, that they are saving us from a captivity or saving us from a situation. I'm not calling them Hamashiach himself. Please understand that. Please understand that. There is a difference. There's a big difference. All right? So, but the fact still remains, this is something that others are not showing you in the scriptures and helping you to understand. So, come now, therefore, and deliver us from their hands, for many of us are slain. Yeah, all our brethren that were in the places of Tobiyahu are put to death. Their women and their children also, they've carried away captives and borne away their stuff. And they have destroyed there about 1,000 men. While these books were yet reading, while these Sepharim were yet reading, behold, there came other messengers from Galilee, with their clothes rent or ripped, who reported on this wise, and said, they of Akko and of Tesor and Sidon and Galilee of the other nations are assembled together against us to consume us. Now, when Yehud and the people heard these words, there assembled a great assembly together to consult what they should do for their brethren that were in trouble and insulted or assaulted of them. Then said Yehuda unto Shimon his brother, choose you out men and go and deliver your brethren that are in Galilee. For I and Jonathan, my brother, will go into the country of Gilead. And he left Yosef, the son of Zechariah, and Azariah, captains of the people, with the remnant of the host in Yehuda to keep it, unto whom he gave commandment, saying, take ye the charge of this people, and see that ye make not war against the heathen until the time that we come again. Now unto Shimon were given 3,000 men to go into Galilee, and unto Yehuda 8,000 men for the country of Gilead. And when Shimon into Galilee, where he fought many battles with the heathen, so that the heathen were discomfited by him, and he pursued them unto the gate of Akko. And there were slain of the heathen about 3,000 men, whose spoils he took, and those that were in Galilee in Arbatis, or yes, looks like Arbatis, with their women and their children, and all that they had, took he away with him, and brought them into Yehuda with great joy. Yehuda Maccabee also and his brother Jonathan went over the Jordan and traveled 3 days' journey in the wilderness, where they met with Nabathim, or met with the Nabathim, who came unto them in a peaceable manner, and told them everything that had happened to their brethren in the land of Gilead, and how many of them were shut up in Basarah, and Beor, and Alema, and Kasfor, and Maged, and Ashtaroth, Karnaim. Sorry, I'm slaughtering some of these words here, family. And Ashtaroth, Karnaim. All these cities are strong and great, and that they were shut up in the rest of the cities of the country of Gilead, and that against tomorrow they had appointed to bring their host against the forts, and to take them and to destroy them all in one day. All right, so let's catch up here. So we have two different camps heading on out. We got 3,000 that's staying behind in the land of Yehuda, correct? And then we have, let's see here, Yehuda taking 8,000, Yehuda and Jonathan taking 8,000 to go to fight their battle. And you got Shimon, his brother, taking, 3,000 with him, or was it 5,000? Right here. Choose you out men and go and deliver your brethren that are in Galilee. So unto him he gave management. Unto Shimon were given 3,000. So yeah, Shimon took 3,000, and then Joseph, the son of Zechariah, and Azariah, captains of the people with the remnant of the host in Yehuda to keep it. So from what I thought I gathered is that there were 3,000 that stayed behind, 3,000 that went with Shimon, and 8,000 that went with Yehuda and Jonathan over to Gilead. So they met up with these brethren right here, the Nabathim, and they put them up on game as to what had came upon them, what kind of situation that they've been going through, and all the different cities that already got taken over by the heathen, and that they were strong and great strongholds and hard to take back. So they had already planned, though, right here in this last verse, this last sentence, that they had already planned on taking them all back in one day. All right, so now we caught up. So hereupon, Yehuda and his host turned suddenly by the way of the wilderness unto Basarah. And when he had won the city, he slew all the males with the edge of the sword, and took all their spoils, and burned the city with fire, from whence he removed by night, and went till he came to the fortress. And early in the morning they looked up, and behold, there was innumerable people bearing ladders and other engines of war to take the fortress, for they assaulted them. When Yehuda therefore saw that the battle was begun, and that the cry of the city went up into heaven with shofars and a great sound, he said unto his host, fight this day for your brethren. So he went forth behind them in 3 companies, who sounded their shofars and cried with prayer. Then the host of Timotheus, knowing that it was Yehuda Maccabee, fled from him, wherefore he smote them with a great slaughter, so that there were killed of them that day about 8,000 men. So it was 1-to-1. This done, Yehuda turned aside to Mitzpah, and after he had assaulted it and took and slew all the males therein, and received the spoil thereof, and burnt it with fire. From thence went he and took Casphor, Maged, and Beor, and the other cities of the country of Galilee. After these things gathered Timotheus another host, and encamped against Raphan beyond the brook. Excuse me, family. So Yehuda sent men to espy. Excuse me again, family. Goodness. Yehuda sent men to espy the host, who brought him word, saying, all the heathen that be round about us are assembled unto them, even a very great host. And he has also hired the Abarim or Arabim, so the Arabs, to help them. And they have pitched their tents beyond the brook, ready to come and fight against you. Upon this, Yehuda went to meet them. Then Timotheus said unto the captains of his host, when Yehuda and his host come near the brook, if he pass over first unto us, we shall not be able to withstand him, for he will mightily prevail against us. But if he be afraid and camp beyond the river, we shall go over unto him and prevail against him. Silly. So he's betting on Yehuda being scared, not happening. All right. So not only that, but he's saying, like, if he comes over on this side, they're gonna beat us. But if he stays over there, we can go over there and beat them. Anyway, verse 42. Now when Yehuda came near the brook, he caused the scribes of the people to remain by the brook, unto whom he gave commandment, saying, suffer no man to remain in the camp, but let all come to the battle. So he went first over unto them, and all the people after him. Then all the heathen, being discomfited before him, cast away their weapons and fled into the temple that was at Ashtaroth, Karnaim. But they took the city and burned the temple and all that were therein. Thus was Ashtaroth, Karnaim, subdued. Neither could they stand any longer before Yehuda. Then Yehuda gathered together all Yasharal that were in the country of Gilead, from the least unto the greatest, even their women and their children and their stuff, and a very great host, to the end they might come into the land of Yehuda. Now when they came unto Ephron, this was a great city in the way as they should go, very well fortified. They could not turn from it, either on the right hand or the left, but must needs pass through the midst of it. Then they of the city shut them out and stopped up the gates with stones, whereupon Yehuda sent unto them a peaceable manner, saying, let us pass through your land to go into our own country, and none shall do you any hurt. We will only pass through on foot, howbeit they will not open unto him. Sound familiar? Sound familiar, family? For those of y'all that remember in the book of Numbers, we were trying to get into the land. We had to go, we had to go around Mount Seir. We had to go around Ammon. We had to go around the Moabites. There was a bunch of people we had to go around because they did not want to let us go through. They said, look, we ain't gonna bother y'all. We won't take none of your meat. We don't want to take none of your water. Anything that we get from y'all, we'll buy it. We'll purchase it from you. We ain't here to bother you. We trying to go to our land. That's all we want to do. But they ain't want to hear that. Right? So very familiar. Wherefore Yehuda commanded a proclamation to be made throughout the host, that every man should pitch his tent in the place where he was. So the soldiers pitched and assaulted the city all that day and all that night, till the length of the city was delivered into his hands. Who then slew all the males with the edge of the sword, and razed the city, and took the spoils thereof, and passed through the city over them that were slain. So basically, if you would have just let us roll through, we wouldn't have hurt none of y'all. We wouldn't have bothered y'all. But y'all want to play this game? All right. Pitch camp. Pitch camp. They playing too much. They're doing too much. They want to play like this? All right, fine. We'll just war with them too. We'll go ahead and we'll run through them. And they did. Ran them through. Destroyed all their males and walked over their bodies and kept it moving. So after this went they over the Jordan into the great plain before Batsan, Batsan. And Yehuda gathered together those that came behind and exhorted the people all the way through till they came into the land of Yehuda. So they went up to Mount Zion with joy and gladness, where they offered ascending smoke offerings, because not one of them were slain until they have returned in peace. All praises. So now what time as Yehuda and Jonathan were in the land of Gilead, and Shimon on his brother in Galilee before Akko, Joseph, the son of Zachariahu and Azaryahu, captains of the garrisons, heard of the valiant acts and warlike deeds which they had done. Wherefore they said, let us also get us a name and go fight against the heathen that are round about us. So when they had given charge unto the garrison that was with them, they went toward Yabneel. Then came Georgius and his men out of the city to fight against them. And so it was that Joseph and Azaryahu were put to flight and were pursued unto the borders of Yehuda. And there were slain that day of the people of Yasharal about 2,000 men. Thus was there a great overthrow among the children of Yasharal, because they were not obedient unto Yehuda and his brethren, but thought to do some valiant act. Pause. So I'm glad that the scripture spoke for itself on that. Because if you remember, Yehuda and Simeon or Shimon told Joseph, don't go fighting against the heathen until we get back. Don't go fighting against them until we get back. But while they were out and gone, and they were still outnumbered, completely outnumbered, they figured, all right, we're going to get a name for ourselves. We're going to go fight against the heathen. And they lost. So, moreover, these men came not of the seed of those by whose hand deliverance was given unto Yasharal. Howbeit, the man Yehuda and his brethren were greatly renowned in the sight of all Yasharal. And all of the heathen, whosoever their name was heard of, so much so as the people assembled unto them with joyful acclamations. Afterward went Yehuda forth with his brethren and fought against the children of Esau in the land inward, or land toward the Negev, or Nagab, where he smote Hebron and the cities thereof, and pulled down the fortress of it, and burned the towers thereof round about. From thence he removed to go into the land of the Philistine, and passed through Shamaron. At that time, certain priests, desirous to show their valor, went slain in battle, or were slain in battle, for that they went out to fight unadvisedly. They weren't advised to go out. See, this is war ain't for everyone. War ain't for every priest. Levi was a warring priest, and only some of his sons or some of his offspring were considered warring priests. But even in the scriptures that we know of, absolutely know of, in Mizraim, none of the Levitical priesthood or the house of Levi, tribe of Levi, went into Egypt, and they weren't enslaved. They didn't go to war. They minded their business. They pretty much practiced. They studied and practiced their art of fighting off to themselves. But they didn't go out willy-nilly, go fighting and no, they just stayed to themselves. This is why the scriptures say that they don't have an inheritance in the land. They didn't get a land inheritance. So, but some of these priests desired to show their valor and were slain in battle, for that they went out to fight unadvisedly. So Yehuda turned to Ashdod in the land of Philistine, and went and when he pulled down their altars and burned their carved images with fire and spoiled their cities, he returned into the land of Yehuda. All right, family. So we're going to leave it right there. You know what I mean? So I think we did a really good job of staying underneath 2 hours. We got 3 chapters in. We did a pretty good breakdown, I think.
Well, can you summarize the latter end of it, the second chapter?
So you mean the third chapter?
Yes, the second one that you did today.
All right. So this right here, we see as a quick recap and breakdown of everything.
No, just a summary.
Just a summary?
Yeah, not a breakdown and a recap.
Okay.
Summary.
So the best way to summarize this is, goodness, there's a whole lot because there's different events that happened.
Never mind.
Okay, well, that's what I'm saying. It's a little difficult. That's a little difficult, especially off the top of my head. I would say stay strong and of good courage as a good summary. Stay with the laws of the Most High, no matter who likes it, no matter who is round about you.
That's a message.
Right?
The summary is like basically, so what did we see in this last chapter, basically?
So in chapter 3. So in this third chapter that we went through, so chapter 5, right?
Right. So in this chapter 5, summarizing what we saw.
All right. So
But I told you don't.
No. So
just so that everybody was able to follow.
Right. So
Babe,
I know, baby, listen, stop. Goodness. So in chapter 5, to summarize it, we have Yehuda and Jonathan. They go off with their 8,000. We have Shimon go off with his 3,000. We have Yosef, who stays back, and they tell him, and they pretty much gave him the word of the Most High. Like, look, don't go fighting until we get back. Now, Yehuda Maccabee and Jonathan, they go off and had many battles and they win every last one of them. They didn't lose nobody. And Shimon, he goes off, has his battle, he don't lose nobody. While they're off and winning their battles, these battles and smoke can be seen from distance. And so Yosef, he gets the idea that he wants to make a name for himself too. And he messed up by not sticking to the script, which is don't go to war with the heathen until we get back, until we're all united.
It was a good idea.
Yeah, he thought it was a good idea because he wanted a name for himself.
You know who that reminds me? I don't know if this is before or after the Maccabees, but that reminds me of King Saul.
That's way before the Maccabees.
So right, so here we see it again though, right? Where Yah gave King Saul an instruction, and he did follow it exactly, right? In fact, we saw it even further back with Moses, where Yah gave him an instruction.
Yeah,
and he didn't follow it. He didn't follow it exactly. So, what do we repeatedly learn from here?
Follow the instructions of the Most High.
Exactly. Follow them exactly what the Most High says. Even if it doesn't make sense to you, even if you think that it would be better another way because you're using your own logic and your own understanding, the Most High clearly says his ways and his thoughts are not like ours. And so we can't lean on to, I think it'll be okay if I do that. This won't really be too bad if I do that. We must do exactly what the Most High says.
All right. So yeah, Stephanie Merville was saying, understood. This is from earlier, a little bit ago. Actually, back at 638, saying understood. There's a type and an archetype. Joshua is another type. Also, Moses and Yosef talking about saviors and Messiah figures, not necessarily the Messiah himself, Hamashiach himself, the word of the Most High that dwelt amongst us in flesh. That's not necessarily to say that they're him. They are an archetype, meaning a type of savior, not exactly saying that they're him. So, but what you're saying, absolutely. And I think Gideon was saying, yep. No, that's at 650. So, but definitely Lakeisha Williams is saying con to what you're saying, because that was just a minute ago. Don't lean on to your own understanding. Follow the instructions is what I'm adding on.
Exact instructions.
That's right. So very good. Very good to bring that on up.
Y'all
right
at the end. Smile.
Yeah, y'all should see this smile right now, because my baby, she's actually being able to retain more because we're going live earlier and we're not going in so long, and she being able to follow along a whole lot better. And so that was really, really good of you to bring that up as far as so what's the summary for this last chapter right here? And that was really, really good that you caught that, to follow the exact instructions that the Most High gives. All praises to the Most High.
All praises to the Most High.
Absolutely. So family, let's go ahead and pray us on out. We got some new music for y'all. Coming from Naviel, coming from Akwan Ahab. And also, I would love if my sister Shalisha Morgan was in the house right about now. Shalisha, if you in the house, please, Wagwan. All right? So there's something I got to play for y'all. It'd be really cool if, if Jules B was in the house too, because I got something for both of y'all, all right? And then it been really, really good. Matter of fact, is my he's not
from there. He's from Trinidad.
I know he's still from Trinidad. Regardless, he's still
What's his name?
Yeah. Oh my goodness. No. Johan. Yeah, Johan Duncan.
That's all right though, because we got the people that's in the chat now. They gonna get it.
Yeah. Y'all gonna get this. Y'all gonna get this. All right. Y'all gonna get what we're talking about. Let's go ahead and pray on out and get our Bantu breakdance on. All right. Abu Yahuwah, Mosayah of Yasharal, Mosayah of Abaraham, of Yatasak and Yaquab, the one true Elohim of all creation, creator of all the heavens and earth and everything within, Yahuwah, Sabaoth. Abu Yahuwah, we thank you so much for this word that has gone forth, breaking everything down, helping us understand not just the history, but also the part of your salvation that comes with this history. How you have made sure that the mixture is perfect in these scriptures, that if we keep your Torah, there's certain things that historically have happened wouldn't have had to happen. But you also made sure to show us that there's other portions that have happened in history that have replayed all back out over and over and over again. So it once again reminds us of who we are and why we have to come back to your Torah. And we have to be zealous for your Torah. We have to be studiers and doers of your word, not just readers and talkers and act like we know somethings. We have to actually walk this thing out, and we have to love our brethren, love our sister, love you with all of our heart and soul. We have to make sure that we don't covet what other people want. We have to honor our parents. No matter what's going on, still honor them. Show them your love. Heal our households. Heal our hoods. Make sure that we don't lie, cheat, steal, kill, do anything that is or be cruel to the weak, to uphold your statutes by looking out for those that cannot look out for themselves. It should be just as important to us that all the people around us are just as good as we would like to be. Because with that kind of heart set and mindset going on, we lift our whole nation up. These are the things that must come to pass. We have to lift our nation back up. And Abba Yahuwah, we look to you. We seek to be obedient unto you. Give us strength. Give us discernment. Give us understanding on how to walk this mission out every single day with no excuse. No excuses, Abba. Show us. And in your mighty, righteous, and holy name, in the name of your Son, by way of Yahushua Hamashikah, we pray, so be it. And it is so.
Amen.
All right. So, first song I got for y'all after we get some of these fiery prayers coming on in, we had Gideon busting a lab. She said, if you haven't already, please hit that like button, share this, family. Let us know. Let them know that we've been live. Let them know there's a message they need to hear. All praise to the Most High. All praise to the Most High.
What's a great idea?
Oh my goodness. It's from 3 minutes ago.
All right, go ahead.
Keeping the time shorter. Going on earlier and keeping the time a little shorter. Not going so long with so much, so many chapters. I think that's probably what that was about. So, first track coming right up for y'all is from Akwan Ahab. This is I Ain't Trying to Be Famous.
I'm talking about to my right. I ain't trying to be famous. I ain't trying to be famous. I ain't trying to be famous. I just trying to walk blameless.
The TNT connector, how you heat a nigga? Gave us back our history. Now we know we the. I don't know what I would do if I didn't have. Probably be knee deep and still reprobate. Oh, life I had to rearrange. Focus done change. Gotta stay blameless like a Dalmatian. I can't have no stains. Purging out wickedness. This is my aim. Demons, I had to straight tame them. Clean up my vainly praising his name. Lost 3 kids in 2 years. My faith been tested like a quiz. I gotta endure it to the end. And renewing your mind is how you win.
Cause you're a slave.
One way or the other.
You gotta choose.
One or the other.
If it's family,
Then you gon' suffer.
I pray that you choose.
I hire my brother, just like a cut. I gotta keep ticking. Doing this work is my only mission. Gave up the fame that Satan was given. Rather have heaven than worldly riches. Now my garment is white. I'm solid and stainless. Ain't tryna be famous. Rather be righteous and blameless.
I ain't trying to be famous. I'm just trying to walk blameless. No spot on my garment. I'm just trying to stay stainless. I ain't trying to be famous. I'm just trying to walk blameless. No spot on my garment. I'm just trying to stay stainless. I ain't trying to be famous. I'm just trying to walk blameless. No spot on my garment. I'm just trying to stay stainless. I ain't trying to be famous. I ain't trying to be famous. I ain't trying to be famous. I'm just trying to walk blameless.
Life, if you lose, eternal fire gon' be your sentence. See, I don't know the rules, read Revelations, keep on living. The kingdom finna come, you don't believe it, you just silly. That one finna come in about 10 minutes, like 12:50. Ain't no lane switching, gotta stay diligent, can't stop. Holy Spirit into me, got our brains tingling with my art. We connected to the top like hair extensions, y'all forgot. God control the tides, we ain't diving blind, how we gon' flop? We on profit time, don't need no dollar signs, cause we a lot. That's that wisdom talk, the Bible be the source, we finna chalk. Most I give us the master keys on top of keys, we got it locked. True. Prioritize your soul, gon' hear repent if you have not. Boasting in the Lord, we close to being forced. We keep on spirit on one accord, connected with the source. I can't be stopped. You can be just like this if you purify your thoughts. I ain't even write this, Holy Spirit, have me talk. Yeah. Yeah. I done repented, yeah. This is the end it, yeah. Ain't no limit, yeah.
Man, see, I didn't even get a chance to listen to all of that one. I just heard him grab it because I know Naviel he be jumping. Lately, he been like bringing different flows from different areas. So I don't know what area he was bringing that flow from, but hey, much respect still, regardless. Now this one, this track right here, Shalisa, where you at? Jules B, where you at? Oh, all praises to the Most High. Thank you. No, Sister Dee right here said that RedLetter rap. Thank you. Thank you to both of you, family. You always play such good music. All praises to the Most High. So this one right here is for my people from the yard. All right, all my people them.
Hey, watch out. Hey, see you now. Hey, watch out. Hey, good on you. Man, something. Keep flowing. I remember say you got nothing to prove if you improving. I know them can't stop it, so we keep moving. Yeah. Are you a guana? Hey, watch out now. More time it feel like problem after problem. More time it's overwhelming. More time when time you smile, them even know you're just pretending. Say you're alright. Never sleep last night, them even know. More time, so that is time alone you're spending. Cause them always a borrow on you. Always lending. Always on for break you, but you never bending enough. Swear them a star and dead in the show. See? Look who I hold it out in the ending, yo. Just want do it, want do it, want do it. No matter how the storm rough, you have to pass through it, yes. Just want do it, want do it, want do it. Never lose the drive and if you have to walk through it, yo. Just want do it, want do it, want do it. And this I feel the one them who they say you can't do it, you just want do it, want do it, want do it. You know you got to pass through it. I know who you think would have glad for you, them while you fall down. Who no used to run up and down on the same ball wrong and them have a sing already, you know why you have none. You see that them kind of fuck with them and fuck with can't done. So that's why you got to focus, sharp and never ready. Them want to charge out full of gun, just full of medicine. And you're gonna be that if them stop you now. Remember, if it did up to them, you would have dead already. So just want do it, want do it, want do it. No matter how the star rough you have to pass through it, yes. Just want do it, want do it, want do it. Never lose the drive and if you have to walk through it, yeah, you just want do it, want do it, want do it. All of who this race say you can't do it, tell them, go and do it, go and do it, go and do it. Hey, watch you now, son of a boat. Who will rise against you, and fight against you. Who will draw them line against you, and turn the mind against you, remember. Who God bless, no man curse, so none of that. Now go work what them trying against you. Tell them no, them rise against you, and fight against you. How you them turn the mind against you, them draw them line against you, remember. Say, who God bless, no man curse, so none of that. Now go work what them trying against you. Tell them no, just go and do it, go and do it, go and do it. No matter how the star rope you have to pass. Yes, just go and do it, go and do it, go and do it. Never lose your drive and if you have to walk through it, say you just go and do it, go and do it, go and do it. All of who this race say you can't do it, tell them, go and do it, go and do it, go and do it. Hey, watch you now.
Yo, Flatter, who beat that is?
Mad something.
Open your eyes. Let the scales fall away. This has all been written. There is one God, the God of the Israelites. And he is a stern and vengeful God. And we have been mocking him far too long. And now he demands blood.
Only a remnant, days of Noah. I pray you hearing this. 10 left to a city, he's serious. Don't get comfortable, ready for pilgrimage. Let go the cares of this life. Endure to the end, prepare for this fight. Who face on that digital currency? Render to Caesar, render to Yah, and do it with urgency. He sending flood fast. Obey the commands, that's how you survive. It's a blessing if you still alive. Keep that oil in your lamp if you wise. Got this garment, he bout to arrive. He really done shorten the times. They gon' pay, they was killing the tribes. Babylon, Asia, Syria, Egypt. Them places he pointing his finger. Them places not about to leave you. Stripping the word from the hands of the heathen. Messiah is coming and we try and see it. We ain't gon' be talking about Egypt. No, for America, we about to leave you. Jerusalem, I been fiending, yeah. We wanna go home, milk and honey, the land of the throne. Got his spirit, we never alone. Forever we grateful, Messiah done sacrifice. The wages of sin, that's the after price. We want that manna from heaven, the appetite. Last supper, it feel like that type of night. Check your heart in this hour. He blowing his wings, don't turn to that old pale, cause it's getting devoured. Yeah, we at the end, no matter the tribulation, we gon' trust in the founder. Trusting y'all with no food on the counter. Allah high him the almighty power. He out rock, he out shield, out tower. He out tower. Yeah, he bout to set us free. It bout to feel like a jubilee. They gon' know that he with us. They gon' hold the skirt of a Jew, cause they know that the Jew in lead. Them the people they raped and they hung on trees. Just imagine they face when they view the king. They gon' call it a UFO. They gon' have bombs in the sky, but they ain't bout to do a thing. Still keep your faith with the Father, don't intervene. No sliding back, this ain't no Billie Jean. You don't take that solution, you label a problem. We might just get faced with that guillotine. If you love him, then keep the commandments. Look what happened when Israel returned. We blowing them trumpets, he hear no cry. He gon' make sure America burn. Don't forget what he did up in Egypt. I guess Sodom, Gomorrah gon' learn. Looking at the reborn of a nation, we gon' lift up this horn of salvation, yeah.
All praises to the Most High. That's right. Fire. Holy fire. So, family, love y'all. I'm going to make sure that I'm going to post Wednesday afternoon at some point. As soon as I can, Wednesday afternoon, I'm going to make sure I put a post out in the community thread on RedLetter Wrapped on exactly what's going on with Wednesday night study with how Hashatan has deceived the whole world. All right. So how we're going to do that, whether it'll be just on Hebrew Descendant or it'll be on both channels at the same time. I hit y'all back then. Most High willing, we're going to see y'all again real soon. I love y'all, family. And with that,
we out.
We out.
Shalom.
Shabbat Shalom. Definitely.